People who have savings in the bank have been reluctant to keep their cash under their mattress, so they deposit it in the bank. While in the bank, the returns have not kept up with inflation. The bankers will offer their clients a way to make some profit off of that money that's just sitting there. There's just one problem. They don't give a damn about you. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today, we are going to look at this very serious topic, and that is, who do you trust your money with? Something that many people ignore. They do so without any thought. And I'm going to give you some evidence that's going to make you think otherwise. I want to begin with this. You're looking at the big investment institutions, whether it's JP Morgan, Bank of America, and so on. These 97 financial firms in the S&P 500 bring in $1.5 trillion in revenue. So they are making a fortune. But the question I pose is, are they making you a fortune? That's what I'm going to get into today. So they surveyed a bunch of these different analysts, advisors, people in the financial industry. How important are the following to your compensation? Okay? How much are they getting paid? What really encompasses that? The profitability of your stock recommendations. Percentage of respondents who answered. Okay, we're looking at very important. So those people here, 1/3 of them said how well my picks perform actually is very important. Only 1/3 of them. And the accuracy and timeliness of your earnings forecast, 1/4. What does that tell you? That ultimately it's not really important to these financial advisors, people in the financial industry, how well they do their performance and the timing of their performance. Doesn't make a difference. Your industry knowledge, 72%. Your standing in analyst rankings or broker votes, these are all basically money makers. Your professional integrity, what does that even mean? It's very vague. Your accessibility and or responsiveness. Okay, all of these are more important than the actual person's performance, which should be on the top of the list. 100% of the people should be saying that this is the most important factor by far. But of course it's not. Let me show you this. How important are the following clients to your employer? Retail brokerage clients, okay? That's you and I. Same situation, 13%. 51% said you are not important. What does that tell you? It's the hedge funds, it's the mutual funds, pensions, and then it goes down significantly from there. The most important are the ones with the big money. And this brings me back to a point I've been making recently, is that your 7 shares of Amazon don't matter. But people think that they do. When they go into the bank and they're investing $3,000 with XYZ Bank, they really think that their advisor cares. You know why? Because you hear it all the time. Oh, Bob's a good guy. I've been dealing with Bob for 20 years. I've been going to the same branch, and he's taking care of my money. Everything's been going good for the last few years, and I'm thinking about putting some more in there. I hear it all the time from people. But this is a fact. And I'm going to show you more about this in a second here. I don't want to rant on too long today. What does this tell you? By the way, this is from Real Investment Advice. Average broker rating on 4,600 issues. Okay? 3,600. 3,600 times they're saying, buy this stock, buy this. 826, say hold. 124 times they say sell. So basically, none of the time they're going to tell you to sell. And overwhelming majority here, they're going to say buy. So you get all these trade calls all the time. You're never going to know when to sell. Because all they're telling you to do is buy. Buy this, buy that, buy this. But at no point are they telling you maybe you should sell this or that. They don't have an exit strategy. Something that I've talked about before. I consistently mention it here and there, and I watch the comments. People don't know. People don't have an exit strategy. They say, I will hold on for the long term. My name is Warren Buffett, and I eat ice cream and drink cherry Coke. Look at this here. They're talking about basically how fraudulent earnings reports are. Okay? Show you here. This is, by the way, from a Wall Street Journal article. What exactly have they been busy with? If you believe a recent academic study, 1 out of 5 U.S. finance chiefs have been scrambling to fiddle with their company's earnings. 1 out of 5. That's the ones that admit it. So I would say at least double. Not Enron style fraudulent fiddles, more like clever and legitimate apparently. Exploitations of accounting standards that manage earnings to misrepresent the company's economic performance. That's somehow legitimate? Ridiculous. Well, basically this survey is of CFOs. We're talking about people in some of the highest positions in these big institutions, the ones that are, producing that $1.5 trillion in revenue. They actually said that they, in fact, do cook the books. They admit it. Cooking the books. Top 5 reasons companies use earnings to misrepresent their financial performance according to finance chiefs. Oh, did that surprise anybody? To influence the stock. 93%. If we want to push up that stock a little bit more, all we got to do is fudge the numbers. But when I said that, people were calling me out. But when the CFOs say that, they say, well, it's a really good thing they're able to do this and get away with it. Outside pressure to hit earnings benchmarks, 93. Inside pressure to hit earnings benchmarks, influence executive compensation, 89. Of course, they say the senior managers fear for their career, something that I've seen much of this. That you get people in management that will simply do anything to make sure that they keep their position. Because so much relies on that. Obviously, oftentimes, they get a better position, they start buying bigger house, better cars and things like this. They need that job. The top 5 ways to spot earnings mismanagement. Sudden changes in reserves and so on. I'm not going to cover it all, but it gets into some other details here. Good stuff, actually. Now, in the past, we've had admissions coming out, not just the CFOs, but all the way from the tellers at the banks, all the way up, financial advisors and beyond. And they came out, I covered it here on the channel multiple times. It's from CBC's Go Public. And they brought out this information. There's 3 articles I'll show you just very quickly. The top banks in Canada, people came out from, like I said, different levels within the bank and said, we were pressured to sell. Canada's big banks admit they overcharged customers. RBC, the latest bank to get slapped with a penalty and multi-million-dollar refunds for overcharging clients. They admitted it. What happened though? Nothing. Literally nothing happens. A little slap on the wrist. Sell to them or you will lose your job. Call center employees for big banks reveal upsell pressures. Employees say customers' calls for help use as opportunities to load them up with more debt. This is a fact. You call up, you need something done, and they put you into some sort of investment that you didn't even know. And oftentimes they were saying they would put people into things they didn't agree to, but they knew the person wouldn't even notice. So they did anyway. And you trust them. Credit union employees say high pressure sales targets turn members into marks. Workers describe the same pressure to upsell as their counterparts at the big banks. Many people ask, what about credit unions? Are they safe? Well, I say that you might say they are potentially more safe, but we're talking about the same currency, and it is the central banks themselves that are the problem. So let's not try to, find a way to continue to fund this system. Every time you invest through these traditional means, you are funding and fueling the central bankers, the technocratic elite. And that is your choice. You can do that. But just understand what you're doing. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to point out some information and say, hey, you do what you want with it. So I'm going to leave it there for today. I just want people to know the truth. I just want people to know the inside scoop because I think it is so critical to understand. If you do put your money somewhere, understand where that person's intentions are. Understand what is really at stake. They don't ultimately care about your funds as you do. And then you invest in stocks and you don't know the true valuation of that company. You simply go with the flow. So you got to be really, really smart these days, more now than ever. One book that I recommend is by Frank Partnoy. And that book is called Infectious Greed. A book that many people haven't read before. I don't know how I found out about it in the first place, but anyway, I had read it. Nice book, really detailed, gets into everything. And it was written before the financial crisis, if I remember correctly, and really highlights everything that happened up until that point. And I think it's really something that everybody needs to read. So that's all for this video. If you found it informative, please give me a thumbs up. Last but not least, if you found the video informative, I know that you will find my books, The Money GPS, and my newer release, Global Economic Collapse, even more informative. You can actually flip through these books at Amazon. There are links in the description of this video. Just go over there. It'll bring you over, and you can see it for yourself. Take care.